What's up and welcome to Idle Insights, a show where each week I, Treavor Bettis, talk to interesting people about idle champions and Dungeons and Dragons. And with me this week is the return of LaTia Jacquise!
It's me, I'm
You!
back.
How you doing?
Great. I've been looking at the code for this episode and I'm so thrilled because one of my friends, whenever she sees me, she goes, "It's LaTia Jacquise." And so that's what's been going through my head since I saw the code, and it's my favorite one.
I really like the fact that your friend says hi to you like a Nickelodeon bumper. That's fantastic.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, now you can be like, hey, you can play Idle Champions and use your lyrical tones to get some free stuff.
Exactly.
LaTia, if folks don't know who you are you for those fine folks who may not know?
I'm somebody, I suppose. I don't know. I am LaTia Jacquise. You can find me everywhere at that handle. I am, as of like a month and a week ago, the community manager for D&D at Wizards of the Coast. I am Dahani on Rivals of Waterdeep. I was your dungeon master for a Familiar Quest series 2. I just kind of exist and be happy on the internet.
Yeah. There's so much negativity around. You got to make your own happiness.
You gotta be happy.
I did like that you switch back and forth between season 2 and series 2 because I do the exact same thing every time. I can't remember which one it is until I look at that graphic.
At the thing, yeah.
I'm like, are we going with the British term or
right? I think my love of British TV shows I'm actually more used to series, but with Rivals we use season, and I talk about Rivals so frequently that season is just kind of like always there, but you know, they're interchangeable with me. The right people know what I'm talking about.
It works. I also have a love for British TV, so I know exactly what you mean. How many series of Taskmaster have I watched over the last few months?
Yes,
yes.
The answer.
I've actually got on record and say that my career goal in life is to just take Greg Davies' job,
very
and
nice.
just laugh at British comedians. That's my goal in life.
Very good, very good.
Like I said, LaTia, it's your second time on the show. Well, at least with me. I believe you've been on the show before when Todd was handling it.
Yeah, I was.
But we haven't gotten to talk about Dahani, so I thought that would be a fun thing to talk about today.
Yeah, let's do it.
So who is Dahani?
Well, as I mentioned, Dahani is my character in Rivals of Waterdeep and in Idle Champions, which is still wild. I have a character in a video game.
Is that
what
neat?
The heck? But yeah, she is an Aarakocra monk that I built based off of, I don't know if you've seen that. There's a picture that goes around Twitter every so often of a black parrot with like red accents on the wings. It's called like a Pesquet's parrot or a Dracula parrot or something like that. She's based off of one of those with a really like severe looking beak and just generally like kind of like goth and moody looking, but she's just like a joy.
That is my favorite combination of personality too.
Goth and moody, but a joy. Like
yes.
Wednesday.
Made Wednesday as a bird.
But yeah, I built her. I've mentioned to you before that I came from an Adventurers League background when I got back into 5th edition. And having played Adventurers League so consistently and the most, you couldn't have Aarakocras in as an Adventurers League character unless you had like a specific certificate that said that you could do that, because you couldn't have flying characters at level 1. So I was like, this is what I want to do because I've not gotten to do this. And I don't think I had even played an Aarakocra at that point. So I was just like, what do I like? I love monks. My first Adventurers League character was a monk. So that was the history there. And then I was just like, well, I want to play an Aarakocra. And then that picture of that bird had come across my timeline some point in the past, however long it had been since they were like, we want you to guest on Rivals, before it turned into me actually being a cast member. So I was like, this is a one-shot character. I'll play her. She'll be great. We'll be done. and then she became my most iconic character.
Yeah, absolutely most iconic. What was the first monk that you did for Adventures League? What kind of monk was that?
Oh, Way of Shadow. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, I cannot remember. I'm sure I've got the character sheet around here somewhere, but I can't remember what her name was, but she was a Way of Shadow monk.
those are fun.
Yeah, and the way the stories I have about her, I it just kind of cemented monks as my favorite. She fell roughly, I don't know, 300 some odd feet down a series of waterfalls. Like it was pratfall-esque the way this happened. Like I tried to jump for something, I missed. I fell down the waterfall, tried to latch onto something else, missed, fell down
Oh
another
my
waterfall.
god.
But I only took like 12 damage. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is
That's
monk. I will be a monk forever.
that is how you monk well, yeah. I turned this mistake into a really cool thing I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which kind of monk is Dahani?
Dahani is a Way of the Kensei monk, which if I could go back and change it now, I would because she doesn't use any weapons other than her fists. But a Kensei monk I'd never played, and nothing else seemed to really fit what I was going with for her. Um, so a Kensei monk she became.
Hmm.
Because her background is also so she comes from. I built her as a monk that came from Kirsabal in Chult, so kind of
Oh, okay.
Tomb of Annihilation
Yeah.
era monk. But she was a painter, so if you play Idle Champions, you notice a lot of her weapons also take the form of painting supplies. Her
Hmm.
darts or paintbrushes, her staff unfolds into like an easel, kind of like Avatar, like air glider style. It
Yeah, yeah,
unfolds into
yeah.
an easel. So in that sense, she like upholds the spirit of the Kensei and that kind of anything can be a what like most
Hmm.
monks, anything can be a weapon with her, but everything that is a weapon for her is also functional in the rest of her
Yeah.
life.
I like that. It's also just like anything is a weapon, but for her, anything that has meaning is a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
When did you join Rivals? When was that?
I joined Rivals halfway through season 6, which
Okay.
was roughly February 2020, because my first episode with them was the live show at CTV 2020
Oh
before the world
wow.
shut down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yep. Back when we were all still Chicago local and still able to film in studio. I
Yeah.
got one in studio episode with them before everything shut down. Um,
Wow.
and I don't know if I've told this story on Idol Champions before because I don't think I've really talked about Tahani on Idol Insights.
Mm.
But it started with Serena, who was cast member at the time, asking me if I wanted to guest. And then when Serena got the job that sent her to LA, it became a we have an opening for a cast member. Will you stay? And I was like, I mean, so you can't really see it, but I'm wearing my Stream of Many Eyes shirt that I
Hmm.
got from D&D Live 2019. But I watched them when they debuted at Stream of Many Eyes, and when I
Oh
found out that
wow.
they were Chicago local, I was like, someday, like you just like you live in Illinois, and you're just like that pipe dream. Like there's a live D&D show in my state that
Yeah.
I could go to maybe one day, and I was just like, oh, one day, and then here we go.
There you are, and now not only did you join, you got the character with them in a game.
I know.
That's
It's
pretty
been a
wild.
wild ride. It's been a real wild ride.
Yeah, I've learning about like how Rivals has gone through talking with you and Eugenio and Brian and everything. It's absolutely wild. I love the form that you all have done and the fact that they're like in a lot of them, a lot of actual plays, you don't hear about people coming in like season 5 or season 6 or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's just like, oh no, somebody left. We're not replacing them or anything like that. And I like that there's kind of this living party to
Yeah.
Rivals. That's really neat, and the fact that like those characters that leave go off and do other things. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that's the other thing that I always root for too. Is it's like just because someone's leaving the party doesn't mean their character has to die. They can
Exactly.
just go have a nice life.
Right. I think across all of the characters that we've had, because we are without four cast, like we've lost four cast members, and I think we've lost five characters,
Mm-hmm.
and that's because only one character has died.
Mm.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched or listened to like season five. I want to say season four, season five.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've only had one character die. Um, so it's just been this, players leave and more players come in, and it's just like, we have this, as far as like the rivals cast of characters are concerned, it's really like you've got like 10 people,
Mm-hmm.
like 10 characters that make up who the rivals are. And it's like we don't forget any of them. Like, there are references to them sprinkled throughout,
Yeah.
the seasons that they are no longer in. And it's just like, we just continue to exist and pay homage to them when we can. It's a lot of fun.
I love that sort. Like, I actually think that's like possibly the most healthy way of running any kind of D&D group is because it does add more to it, and like you say, you bring up those other characters. It's almost like it's not quite like an inside joke because it's not a joke, but it's like there's a touchstone there for you and your players that it's not me going like, and then Minsk shows up, everybody knows who Minsk is,
Right.
but it's something that's just for you, that if you said it to another group they'd go, what? And
Yeah.
that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the games that I've been running, I keep it all in canon and everything like that. So like the first game in 5th edition I ran in 2014 had like there's still characters that show up from that in the campaigns I'm still running right now.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and like even the group that I have right now, it's gone through so many changes. Like it's still the same group it's still the same party from 2018, but we've had so many people come and go and join and everything like that, and it feels nice.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, the majority, two people left, we have to end this campaign, and
Yeah, I don't like, if somebody leaving like causes the story to come to like a natural end, that's fine, but I don't think that just because, somebody leaves that is the end of the story. It's the end of their story, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop playing in that sandbox, because there's so much more
oh yeah,
to explore in that sandbox that I really enjoy about kind of continuous storylines and like ever evolving like locales and things like that.
yeah.
I'm doing I don't know if you saw the Dungeon 23 or the City 23 thing that's going on Twitter.
I
it's like
just learned about this.
Yeah.
See, you'll get this because I know you do bullet journaling too. I thought it was a bullet journaling thing where it's just like, oh yeah, you journal your stuff and then make a dungeon out of it. And now that I know no, you're just building a mega dungeon every day. I'm like,
yeah,
I need a new notebook.
That part.
Yes.
That part. So I have two planners for the year. I have my small one that I carry everywhere, and then my big one that is like big picture. In my big planner, I'm doing City 23 and with an unnamed city that I'm gonna kind of just like expand, and like it's gonna be city and surrounding area, because like off the top of my head, I cannot recall the person whose template that I'm using. It's on my Twitter somewhere, but it's basically like every month you create a district, and then within that district you do locations or like random events and city or NPCs, rumors, etc., etc. And so like the district, I like in my head the city is probably going to be like 8 actual like building districts, and then like kind of how Waterdeep is, like 8 in city districts, and then like surrounding areas like farms and forests and things like that. So my goal is to have something like that done for the whole year in a city.
That's really cool. I like that one. Yeah, that city map is still one that I'm not great at drawing. I can draw continents, I can draw dungeons. The in between, I'm still not great at.
Yeah, no, I'm not drawing anything.
Oh, okay.
This is all text, because I'm really good at drawing other people's dungeons, like on a map, on a grid.
Yeah.
Buildings don't. You're gonna get funky Tetris looking blocks that are like, this might be an inn or something like that. But no, I'm just doing text. And that's what I love about the challenge is that, like, people tend to take artsy challenges kind of out of proportion, but I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna write stuff and then it's gonna exist in my head, or I'm gonna find a map maker program that's gonna do it for me.
God, I love map making programs.
They're so fun.
Before I get to my next question, though, I do want to remind chat, hey, we're live right now. I always forget to say that because I have to say it sometimes, because sometimes we're not. If you have any questions for LaTia, you can put them in a chat, and our awesome mods will grab them, put in a little text doc that we'll get to at the end of the show. But also, we'll be doing a giveaway in a little bit here.
Hey, I like giveaways.
Yeah, you'll have a chance to win 42 chests of your choice in Idle Champions, except for Bahamut chests. And I'll let you know when that happens. But getting back to Dahani, what has Dahani's character arc been like since she joined Rivals?
So it's been interesting in that there hasn't kind of really been one. Because when I built her, she was just supposed to be like a one and done character,
Yeah.
right? And normally when I build characters that I don't do anything with, they have the most involved backstories, and I know everything about them. But Dahani came in as basically a spy for the enemy. So that season, we were dealing with it was the Avernus arc. So we were dealing with everything that kind of fell around descent into Avernus and things like that. So she came in as a bodyguard for the Castellanters, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, because the Rivals were dealing with the Castellanters at the time, and so I think her intro episode ended with them, the Rivals, talking with the Castellanters, having some discourse with the Castellanters, and then leaving, and Dahani just went with them and never went back. Because, as it turns out, the Castellanters were evil, and I don't think Dahani really wanted to vibe with that. So her first couple of seasons really are kind of like, well, I was working with the Castellanters. The Castellanters told me to spy on these folks. Now I'm with these folks, and the Castellanters are terrible people. I'm just gonna stay here and hope they don't notice that I'm here.
I'm gonna lay low for a little bit in this adventuring group.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go on their adventures now. And eventually it kind of gets called out that, she's a rival. She's not going anywhere. They're not gonna kick her out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of been Dahani just kind of existing and fitting in with the Rivals and being awkward and trying not to murder people.
I mean, there is a nickname I've heard going around for Dahani, something about a murder bird,
something like that. Which is funny because she's never actually murdered anybody.
That's even better.
Yeah. So she got the name Attempted Murder Bird. She got the name when they went into Revel's End. I think we're a very classic adventuring group. We put ourselves in jail to try and get somebody out.
As you do.
As you do. And Dahani, I play her as someone who has no tact, because when I built her, she had a charisma of 7.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, which I play as, not necessarily she doesn't talk to people, but she doesn't know when she shouldn't talk to people. So her mouth gets her in trouble.
I can relate.
So she got into a fight in Revel's End where she almost killed somebody. They survived, but the nickname stuck.
That's fantastic. but the thing is, like, you're talking about how, like, for you Dahani hasn't had that much of an arc, still kind of the same character though. I do like those characters because like it's just another type of character, like an iconic hero and stuff like that. They've hit that point where they're like, I'm chill with where I am. I'm gonna see what all the weird stuff you people do is.
Yeah, she more often than not attempts to be the voice of reason when things look like they're
Attempts.
starting. Yeah, when things start to look like they're getting a little bit out of control, she that high wisdom comes into effect where she's like, maybe we should not do the most ridiculous choice of the three ridiculous choices that we have presented ourselves. Maybe we should just act natural. And then, of course, that doesn't get a lot of play because, again, such low charisma means such low persuasion. Um, but it works with the the other thing that people tend to forget about her and about Aarakocra in well, I'm not gonna say Aarakocra in general, but she's a small bird. She's not
Mm.
tall. She's not like
Oh.
she's not statuesque by any means. Um, she is the second shortest. Yeah, she's like the next to last shortest character. Gosrick is
Yeah.
just shorter than her. So people like when we role play, I do forget that she is small. Like she's
Mm-hmm.
4 foot and change. Um, and she just kind of like puts that in a big fluffy bird package.
Like that. Switching gears here real quick. I wanted to bring up a conversation that we had towards the end of the last episode that you were on, which
Absolutely.
was about ADHD and DMing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, again, some folks may not have seen that. So I wanted to kick this off with this, like, what do you find as kind of a struggle with DMing while having ADHD?
Um, Having a story and keeping up with it. Um, if it's difficult for me to DM long form, like more than one or two episode or two sessions of a thing,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned this the last time we spoke about this because when I DM'd a familiar quest, I did not have a story. And I let the characters just kind of inform what was going to happen in the next episode. And when I DM'd both seasons of like both of my seasons of Rivals, um, I had a beginning and I had an ending. I had that much.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever happened in the middle was up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, no plan survives contact with the enemy or the players. And two, like I do call myself a creative person, but filling in that the meat of the sandwich is so hard for me to do.
Mm, I get
So
that.
it's yeah, like finding us like I'll have an idea in mind for a story. I'll know how I want it to start, but where it goes from there is up to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Do do you find, because you know, for disclosure for everyone, I both of us have ADHD, and this is something that we both struggle with. But do you find that there is a cutoff time for DMing where it's just like, I cannot DM longer than this amount of hours? Like if it hits that point, I'm out.
Yeah, actually, it is about 2.5 hours.
Same, same.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is like every show that I have run has been mercifully that long, and that's about the same as it is with playtime as well. When I'm on the other side of the table,
Yep.
I have 2 good hours of ADHD concentration in me,
Mm-hmm.
which means like I have the thing that is going to keep me focused, and after that amount of time I'm going to be focused more on other stuff because, or I need to take a break before I can come
Yeah.
back and continue to do this. But yeah, it's about 2.5 hours because after that, I get hungry. I'm just going to be real with you. I get hungry. I need to do some, like, my brain needs to engage in something else, whether that's eating a snack or whether it's, just getting up and not looking at whatever's in front of me for a while. These days it's my computer screen. So, I don't want to, blow my eyes out or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about 2 hours.
I had a group one time that I noticed started ordering pizza every time we played, and
Mm-hmm.
and one of them was just like, yeah, we realized that if you have pizza in you, you'll DM longer.
I mean, one, kudos on them for noticing
Yeah.
and feeding you.
Yeah. I mean, I got free pizza. I was
Right.
happy. I was dang happy.
Yeah, my adventuring league days when see It also varies. No, it doesn't vary because about halfway through an Adventures League game is when I'm like, no, we're all going to get up and we're going to take a break. We're going to do something else. Um, but yeah, back before I realized that the stuff going on in my brain meets was ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
I could do 4 hours, but I'd be so dang drained
Oh
afterwards.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
so realizing that my brain needs that break or that space to be like, we're just gonna gel for a minute. We're gonna become soup, and then we're gonna reform back into a brain, and then we're gonna keep on.
Yeah, oh man. There was one time that I made the mistake of just doing too many creative things in one day. I wrote 2,000 words
Oh,
and then ran 6 hours of a D&D game.
oh,
And like we were literally 3 blocks from my house. We were at my friend's house. And I'm walking down the stairs. I turned to my wife, I'm like, "You need to drive home. I cannot function. I cannot function for
no,
3 blocks."
that's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. Like my home game, 2 hours. It's clean 2 hours. It hits 9 o'clock. We're done.
Yeah. I say all this knowing that this weekend I'm getting ready to do a session zero, not as a DM, but as a player of what is going to be a monthly like long form Dragonlance game.
Mm.
Like we're meeting once a month, but it's going to be an all day thing.
Oh
But
wow.
my DM has ADHD, and I'm sure I think a couple of our other players do too. But it's a thing where it's like we're gonna be in the house all day. Like we're gonna eat, we're gonna goof off, we're gonna do all that stuff. And having a DM with ADHD as well, like we know where we need to, take those breaks
Mm-hmm.
and goof off a little bit. But I'm really excited for that because it's going to be my first in-person game in almost 3 years.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm craving one of those again.
Mhm.
Uh hang on one second. Uh I'm typing a message because I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know when we're doing the giveaway. I should probably find that out.
Ah, yes.
Yes. But yeah, no, I've been craving one of those again because yeah, I haven't played in person D&D in 3 years either, and my gosh, like this is it is fun. Like, I still have fun doing it online and everything like that. But
Absolutely.
like that sort of situation, once a month you get together, you just play for a long time in the same room and
Hmm.
everything. That sounds heavenly.
Hmm. So once a month, just marathon of,
Yes.
yeah, I'm so
Uh,
looking forward to it.
well, one of the other questions I had about this though is, what
Yeah.
have you found that there's anything that helps in DMing having ADHD?
Um, I think no, like if your players know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the big thing because you can have all of the coping mechanisms that you want, but if they're not accepted by your players, like not to get preachy, but like you just have to let your players know, like, hey, while you're doing a thing, I'm listening, but you're gonna see me looking behind my DM screen at something, but that's gonna help me listen to what you're saying. Um, and I think just the table awareness
Mm-hmm.
of knowing that, and then just whatever coping mechanisms that you have are kind of the key points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the communication with players, that's the big one right there. Let
Mm-hmm.
them know, like, hey, as a heads up, I have ADHD. This might be a different sort of game than you are used to being in.
This is gonna be wild.
Yeah. I am getting word from our mods that the giveaway is ready. So when you see in the chat that it starts, the keyword is going to be Kensei Monk, all lowercase, all one word. Yeah. You can enter for a chance to win 42 chests of your choice, excluding Bahamut, and it'll be going for 2 minutes. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, the reason why like I had that question there is because like I do think that sometimes my ADHD does help with my style of DMing.
Hmm.
Like I am more inclined to do completely impulsive, just off the hook things,
Yeah.
and especially for my players when they propose something absolutely wild, I'm
Yes.
like, let's freaking go.
Absolutely. Like, like not to be raw versus rule of cool, but
Yeah.
I love like if somebody tells me that they want to do something that's so off the wall, I think our ADHD also helps a bit
Yeah.
in that sense, because as soon as they say it, you're like, okay, I already know how I want this to go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Roll me this, and this. And then it's just like, no, my ADHD is going to latch onto that bit of impulse that you have, and together we're going to take this into an even more awesome thing that you ever thought was going to happen.
100%.
So it's not to be all ADHD is a superpower, but it helps.
Yeah,
in
it
those
does.
Moments,
Yeah, I definitely would not sit here and say, like, I have a superpower of DMing because I have ADHD. God, no. Absolutely not.
Sometimes I wish it would dial itself back a bit,
Yeah. No, like because like we were saying, like there is a ticking time to when my focus is going to go away, and I do wish that there was that I could play longer games and whatnot, because I know people have fun doing that. I also like I said last time, I wish I could play a magic user and constantly remember all of the spells that I have. But the one thing that is fun with it that is like every time I open a monster, for the most part, it's brand new. I don't retain these stat blocks. Someone will ask me, it's like, oh, what's the AC of this creature? I'm like, you got a book? I don't know.
Right. I will say one of the things that I wish it would let me do, I wish I could play more serious campaigns. I find it very difficult to stay in the mindset that allows me to play a serious campaign.
Yeah.
Like one with, like not necessarily high stakes, but like mood.
Yeah. Yeah, the dark atmosphere and everything like
right.
That. Yeah.
It's kind of why, as much as I want to play vampire, I don't.
I know. I want to so bad. But like, I know, I'm like, I'll be a serious character. I'll be moody and everything. I'm like, but will I be?
But will I though? And I like, not to veer off topic, but like, I know not all vampire campaigns have to be like dark, moody, serious, but like
it's kind of what you're going there for. You're not picking that book up and being like, oh, this is how I run a comedy. Yeah, no, there's like there's like one campaign that I've ever done that like did have more serious moments than all of them that I've run. That was Curse of Strahd. So luckily I was able to go through that without it turning into Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Oh no. You've invoked my favorite Mel Brooks movie.
My gosh, really?
Yes. It was the first one I ever saw, and I was like,
Okay.
Actually, that's a lie. No, Men in Tights was the first one I ever saw, but Dead and Loving It was the one that I was just like, Dracula is one of my favorite stories. And I hadn't seen Prince of Thieves. I saw those in reverse. So, yeah, Dead and Loving It is one of my, I'll watch Amy Yazbek in literally anything.
It's true. But yeah, the Curse of Strahd game. I mean, like there were funny moments. They polymorphed into a mammoth and dropped themselves onto Strahd. That's just funny. But then at the end of the same game, one of my players was crying. So it had its ups and its downs. So the last thing I wanted to ask about this before checking in with chat. Remember, chat, you can put in your question colon and then your question, and we'll talk about them. Do you have any tips or tricks for any ADHDers out there that are looking to get behind the DM screen?
Oh man. Well, my first suggestion, as always, is to do it. Just do it.
Be impulsive. You know how to do that.
You know how to do that. Be impulsive. BEIMPULSIVE. Be impulsive.
That's beautiful.
I think I spelled that right. No, I think find a module or something that you like that you can that keeps your focus, not necessarily in a hyper-focusy way, but if there's something that you have really, really, really wanted to do, if you have something that you kind of keep coming back to, if you keep reading Tyranny of Dragons because you like how the story goes, I think that should be what you start with. but don't be beholden to what the book says.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes.
um uh rails are great. Rails are perfect. They're wonderful. They keep the story going sometimes, but our brains are not built for rails.
Mm-hmm.
Or
They
rather
think they are.
they think they are. But also our brains build their own rails,
Yeah.
right? So you like the story goes here and you're gonna go here, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, just kind of take what you love and add some mechanics to it and tell your party we're going on an adventure, all of us together. Even I don't know where we're going. Let's hold hands. Let's hold hands and roll some dice.
Heck yeah. Let's hold hands and roll some dice. I love that. No, I do think the suggestion of finding a campaign, like find a campaign that sparks that dopamine. I heavily agree with that, because I do think one of the mistakes that I made at the beginning of my DMing career was trying to homebrew a bunch of stuff and then trying to chase that dopamine, but not really knowing where it was in
Yeah.
D&D.
Like the very first thing I DM'd was Fandelver.
Mm,
Because I had played it, right? I
okay,
think
okay.
also if it helps if you have played something that you really like, go right into that.
Yeah.
You know from a player standpoint how it's going to go. Now just kind of get behind the screen, grab that information that you didn't know, and just kind of put that into the brain meats as well. But yeah, Fandelver was the first thing I ran. I've run Dragon Heist, I've run
Mm,
Strahd, um, but most of what I've run has just been like modules.
yeah.
And modules are also really good. Like Adventures League modules are also really good because they tell you everything that you are supposed to know.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, like, here is literally and all the books do this, but modules are shorter, and it's a 20-page thing that you can run in 4 hours in 2 2-hour sessions if your brain is not going to keep up with that. But yeah, just find something that you really, really enjoy as a game concept and slap some dice rolls on it.
I love it. Fandelver is like one of my favorite things to
I
run.
love Fandelver so
I
much.
have run the beginning of that campaign so many times that I can run from the very beginning to
Getting to the
getting to town
to
without a
Fandolin,
book.
yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
run it without a book. Like it's like, oh, you want to go into the cave? Yep, I know the entire map and everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you what I had for breakfast this morning, but I can tell you every room in that map.
And I actually think that the last time I was on Island Insights, we talked about that because
Oh, really?
I have a very specific conversation memory, like conversation screenshot in my head of both you and I talking about like the hidden passage that goes like underneath
Yeah.
the river and stuff like that. I'm seeing that very clearly in my head right now.
Oh, we probably did. Who knows what we talked about previously? We don't
Right.
remember.
But yeah, I'm sure on one of my hard drives somewhere, I have a screenshot of the funeral that we held for Droop because
oh,
we ran it on Roll20. We adopted Droop. Droop became a paladin, and he died to the Green Dragon.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he died to the Green Dragon, and we were so distraught about it that we held a funeral for him in that little town.
That's incredible. I love that. Okay, but before we wrap things up, we did get a question from chat that I want to
Yeah.
throw in here. So this is from Gauntlblade.
Yeah.
Is it Gauntlet or yeah, I was thinking it's Gauntlblade. If I got it wrong, I'm sorry. Question: given how Rivals of Waterdeep has a rotating DM slot, do you
Yes.
prefer being a player or a DM? Also, who among the rest of the rivals is your favorite DM? Oh, that's
Oh,
that's a loaded question.
that is a loaded
I
question.
will let you know. Brian is in the chat.
I know, I saw Brian in chat. So I love being on honestly, it really is it's a toss up because when I'm a DM, I love I love waiting to see how the rest of them are going to like throw a wrench in whatever I have planned. But as a player, I love watching everybody's DM styles. And I say this only because, and I truly cannot choose who among them is my favorite DM, but I have to give it up to Brian and Eugenio for their co-DM season
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that their brains work in general. Like they are they joined the cast during my first season as DM. And
Mm.
the mind meld that instantly formed between them is something that is so unique, so instant, so immediate, so lovable between both player and character
Mm-hmm.
that I just, it's one of my like top three favorite parts of being in Rivals of Waterdeep was that whole season and just Kent and Virgil's existence, you know. um that season in general just has a lot of good memories for me because it was the first time in a couple of years that we actually got to play
Mm-hmm.
together at PAX. We got to do the live show at PAX, but just I don't know the way that their brains work together, like
It is
I
a
just
sight to
love it.
see.
I love it so much.
That's fantastic. I love it. We actually got to start wrapping things up because we got to get ready for the next show coming
But
up.
I
But
don't wanna. I'm gonna stay here forever.
well, luckily we're still gonna be here. It's Twitch that's gonna miss everything.
That's true.
LaTia, thank you so much for taking the time and sitting
You're
down with me today. This is
welcome.
great.
I
Uh,
love I love coming on to Idle Insights because you and I always have really good conversations.
oh yeah, I always look forward to it because I know we're gonna have some good tangents. We're gonna have some good conversations.
Absolutely.
If people wanted to find you and what you do on the interwebs, where could they do so?
So underneath me, you can see my name, which is also my Twitter handle, which is also my website, which is also my TikTok, which is also I'm LaTia Jacquise everywhere.
You got all those handles. You got them.
It's the beauty of having a unique name.
It's fair. It's fair.
So if there's literally anywhere you wanted to find me, if I'm not there, you should tell me that I'm not there on Twitter so that I can go be there.
I'll keep that in mind. If I find other platforms, I'll be like LaTia.
Right?
Again, thank you so much. You know, you can catch Rivals Waterdeep when is that
Yeah.
going on right? Is that going on right now?
We're on break right now. We just wrapped season 14 as we head into our 15th and final season.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Hive. Question colon. Hive too. I'm there.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we head into our 15th and final season where hopefully we are level 20. Depending on you know, some things happened at the end of season 14 that might, you know, delay our journey to the final level. Which is something that we absolutely could talk about in the future Idle Insights, going from, I think when I joined them, I was level 12 or something, but Rivals have gone from level 5 to level 20.
Yeah.
And
that's big.
I never have been in a campaign that, I mean, has even gone like that far, you know? I think my highest level character aside from Dahani is probably like level 10.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. No, we'll put a pin in that one and next time you're on because yeah, I mean absolutely we're going to have you on again. Come on. We'll talk about that one.
But yeah, we're due to start season 15 in February. You can follow us at Rivals Waterdeep, not Rivals of Waterdeep because it wouldn't fit. Rivals Waterdeep.
Yes.
To find out when we will be back for season 15
Heck
with
yeah.
I was going to call him Gosrick, Masood at the helm. Masood is DMing. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, you can also catch LaTia DMing in Rivals or on a familiar quest, which you can find on our YouTube channel, and doing a fantastic job there. But yeah, that is going to do it for this week's episode. Again, thank you, LaTia.
You're welcome.
For everyone out there, that's going to do it for this week's episode. So until next week, take care of yourself.
Bye.